Hi, this is Mrs. Mallet, and today we're going to talk about synthetic division. Now, you only can do synthetic division when you don't have a number to divide by in front of your x term right here. If you had a number in front of this term right here, then you have to do long division and you can't do synthetic division. So make sure when you want to do synthetic division, you look to see that there's not a number in front of that x term in what you're dividing by. Now, let me talk about the setup of synthetic division. First of all, you want to look at your coefficients in your polynomial, the first polynomial. Let's take all the coefficients from there. So in front of the x squared term, there's a 1. In front of the x term, there's a 12. And then we have 32. Okay, so now that's the setup of we're still setting this up. So now you want to take this number 4 right here, and the opposite of that goes in a box. So negative 4, it's going to end up going in your box. Okay, so now we set it up. So the way you start off synthetic division is you bring down your first term. So now I like to say you multiply below. So you multiply below and you combine here. That'll make more sense when I show you. Okay, so we brought our first one down. So now 1 times negative 4 is negative 4. 12 minus 4 is 8. 8 times negative 4 is negative 32. And then those two are going to cancel out. So now we have 1 and 8. Those are our new coefficients and our new polynomial. So now, in our original polynomial, we started off with x squared. So now in this one, this will now be our 1x, and then this will be the 8. Remember, you want to go down in descending order. Okay? Let's try another one. So now let's set this one up too. Okay, so once again, the opposite of this number right here will go in a box. So now we'll put positive 2 in a box. Now let's write down all of our coefficients. So we have, and make sure, do you have all of your terms accounted for, and are you in descending order? Yes, we do. We have a 1, negative 7, negative 13, and a 5. Remember, you bring down your first term, and when you're below you multiply, and when you're above you combine. So bring down the 1. So 1 times 2 is 2. Negative 7 plus 2 is a negative 5. 5 times 2 is 10. Negative 13 plus 10 is a negative 3. Negative 3 times 2 is a negative 6, and 5 minus 6 is a negative 1. Okay, so now we have all of our numbers. So now let's get our new polynomial. Since we started with x to the third in our original problem, this right here is going to start with 1x squared. And then these will be our coefficients for our descending order exponents. So we have x squared minus 5x minus 3. But what about that 1? I bet you're asking, what in the world do I need to do with that 1? That negative 1 is your remainder. And remember, what do you do with your remainder? You put it over what you divided by. So this would be how you write your final answer. Let's try one more example. Okay, so the opposite of the 3, which is negative 3, is going to go in our box. And now let's write down our coefficients. But look, do we have all of our terms accounted for? No, we don't. We're missing our x term. And remember, just like in long division, when you're missing a term, you pull out 0 as your placeholder. So now let's write down all of our coefficients. I have 3. I have my 0 for my x term. And now I have negative 15. Okay. So now, remember, you always bring down your first term. So now let's multiply. So 3 times negative 3 is negative 9. And 0 minus 9 is negative 9. Negative 9 times negative 3 is a positive 27. And negative 15 plus 27 is a positive 12. Okay, so now we have our coefficients. So now let's start. We started off with x squared. That means this is going to start off with an x. So I have 3x minus 9 plus 12 over x plus 3. One thing to remember is you want to make sure you have all your terms accounted for when you're doing synthetic division. Bring down your coefficients, and the opposite number of whatever's following that x is what's going to go in your box. We just did synthetic division.